Boom! We are live, everybody. What say you with Progress Realty Partners? Dan Salonis here with my good old pal, Adam Dickert.
That's
Adam,
right.
how the hell are you today, sir?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Some days a nightmare, other days a dream. What about yourself?
It's always a dream, man. Never a nightmare. Never a nightmare. But guys, this is What Say You. We are Progress Realty Partners. We get questions in every week from investors looking for our advice on different scenarios. They ask us situational questions and all kind of stuff. And Adam and I give our 2 cents here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook every weekend. And Adam, I got a surprise for you today.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I like this.
This week's episode is unofficially sponsored by Budweiser.
Ooh, how'd you manage that one? By all the beer we go through?
It's unofficial. I reached out to them. They have not responded yet, but I like our chances. So
it seems promising, honestly. It really does.
I think it does. We are unofficially sponsored by Budweiser. And we got a 4-pack of questions today. 2 for me, 2 for you, Adam.
Nice.
And I think our first one is for you, and it is from Alex from Pennsylvania. He wants us to know, he said, I own a few small strip centers. Would you rather lease space to a medical or restaurant tenant? So, Adam, what say you?
Mr. Alex, medical or restaurant? So first thing that comes to mind, these are both could be very expensive tenants to move in if the landlord is doing the fit out, right? If the tenant's doing their own fit out, it's kind of a toss-up, comes down to rent. But it ultimately comes down to the synergies of the rest of your strip center. If you have a whole strip center just full of restaurants, it can either be a toss-up. It might be a good idea to throw another restaurant in there as long as you're not cannibalizing your other tenants. But also a medical play is usually a pretty safe bet. I mean, doctors and medical tenants are very, very sticky. So what is your game plan? Are you looking to hold on to this thing long-term, put in a couple bucks, have the best credit tenant, there's not going to be any headaches whatsoever paying rent? I'd probably lean towards medical. If this is a mom-and-pop restaurant guy, I'm just assuming it's a mom-and-pop guy, maybe I'd have a little more reservation. But it comes down to the ultimate synergies and location of your strip center. So if I had to pick one, knowing nothing else, I'd probably go medical, just strictly due to the stability and credit and usually the guarantor behind those.
Yeah, totally agree. For just like you said, the medical tenants are sticky, right? And we're starting to see a lot more medical tenants come into retail properties just for the convenience of the consumer, right? You go to the doctor, you get something to eat, you do a little shopping. It's kind of a one-stop shop scenario. So yeah, I mean, medical tenants are great. And like you mentioned, though, the fit outs can be expensive, right? Medical or restaurant.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, I would do medical though. Like we did, we have the property we have in North Carolina, right, Adam? We have a dentist, and we had 1,100 feet next to his space, adjacent to his space, that we had a couple different LOIs, letters of intent, handed in from some different restaurant users. And we went ahead and we expanded the dentist into that space. So now instead of having 3,000 feet, he's got 4,100 feet.
Right.
So for the right property, medical is great. Any type of medical use. All right.
Agreed.
What's next? We got here
Ian from Florida. This one's for you, Danny boy. How long will you let a leasing broker show your space for, and what kind of reporting do you require? This guy is on the hunt for new deals, probably.
Yeah, good question.
Ian.
So, and some people asked us too, like, would you recommend hiring a leasing broker? Should I do it myself? And we always say, like, leasing's a full-time job, right? So unless you have nothing else in the world to do but try to lease out your space, hire a leasing professional who knows the market, who's in tune with more local businesses, who wants to expand, who's coming into the area. But to answer his question directly, I would say if you have a leasing broker, normally going to sign, I don't know, a year-long commitment, 6 months, whatever the case is. I think for us, at least, 3 months is really like a benchmark of, okay, what kind of activity have we had, right? Mrs. Leasing Broker, you've had this listing for 3 months. What kind of interest have we gotten? How many letters of intent have been handed in? How many tours have you done? And with what kinds of users? So for us, I think 3 months is kind of like that mark where, all right, now let's evaluate what kind of progress we've made. And from a reporting side, I mean, we like to speak with our leasing brokers every other week, if not weekly, depending on what type of activity is going on. But those are some of the things we want to see from a reporting standpoint. How many tours have you had? What types of uses are these tenants? How many letters of intent have been handed in? And at what rent rate are these guys handing in offers at? You want to stay on top of the leasing brokers. Make sure they're not just slapping their sign on the window or something and waiting for people to call them. You want people who are hungry, hitting the pavement, trying to bring somebody in. But I would say 3 months is kind of that mark. Joseph what's up, our friend? My man Joseph. Joseph just got married a few months ago. Where's him right here?
Nice to see you guys.
Joe, good to see you, brother. But yeah, so that's what I would say. 3 months is kind of that point where, all right, shit will get off the pot, right? But if they're showing activity, if they're getting tours, maybe it's just a tough space to lease out, so you could give them some more leeway. But that's what I would say. 3 months, see what the activity is.
Yeah, and Dan, exactly along your lines, like the epitome. No offense to our leasing broker guys out there, right? We happen to have very, very good ones, but some guys have a habit of collecting these things like they're rewards, like like a Beanie Baby. They just collect as many leasing exclusive listings as possible. For what? To me, and I think you agree, but I'd rather have 3 listings I know I'm going to work my ass off for, pound the pavement, do the best I can, opposed to have 10 or 15 of these things kind of just like up in the air, like, oh yeah, we have that space, we have that space. Slapping a sign doesn't get the thing leased out most time unless you have the cream of the crop prime location in like main corner in town. But another question I don't remember the guy's name. Ian. How long has he had the listing for already? That's another question I'm interested in hearing. Don't just let him hoard it, right? Anybody can hoard it. Who's going to actually work it?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes bringing on somebody new, you get new ideas, new perspective, new relationships.
Definitely.
Mark, what's going on, man? The big dog, Mark. Everyone, you need cost segregation. I said it last week. Reach out to Mark. Him and his company do a great job. I'm going to be working on some stuff with Mark coming up. So reach out to Mark, connect with him, shoot him a message. Anyone who needs cost segregation analysis studies, Mark's a great guy. All right, what we got here? Adam, Neil from Florida, sunny Florida. Would you buy a single tenant net lease property knowing the tenant is leaving in 3 years?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I would.
Yeah, why not?
But situationally, right? Again, kind of similar things you just mentioned with the leasing. Comes down to the location. What is the space a former vacant Rite Aid? Is it a Walgreens? Is it a DaVita? Whatever it is. What is it? And you have 3 years of leeway, right? I would hope you or someone in your circle can help you lease this thing out in 3 years. But it ultimately comes down to the location, the footprint, how accessible is it? Is it at a signalized light? Do you have multiple ingresses and egresses in it? Ultimately, you want to see how appetizing is it for some of these bigger companies, right? If it's a former Walgreens, it's probably going to have a drive-through, probably anywhere from 10 to 14,000 square feet, good footprint, right? What are the voids in the market that take that kind of footprint? Or can you whack it up? Can you bring in 2, maybe 3 tenants and have a drive-through, which is obviously extremely coveted right now after COVID? But short, hell yeah, I would take that. With 3 years of leeway time, absolutely. And as a bonus, are they still paying? Are they dark and still paying? That's just, cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years is a long time to figure something out. If you can't figure something out in 3 years, you're probably in a bad market. So, yeah, I mean, you hit all the major points there, man. If you could buy it at a high enough cap rate, you get it at a, mid to high 8, 9, 10 plus cap rate. It could be a ton of value in those types of deals. So definitely look at, single tenant net lease deals. All right, we got one more, and I'm not good at computers. So
Ben's is killing me, Dan.
Let's see. Okay. What we got?
Rakesh from Jersey. I'm surprised I don't know who this guy is. Maybe you know Rakesh.
What's up, Rakesh?
What's the biggest mistake you see new commercial real estate investors make? I love this one. And
Yeah,
I have a feeling I know where you're going with this. I love this one.
you probably do. So listen, I mean, guys, we say it so often, and I mean, sometimes my skin just crawls off my body when I see some of these offering memorandums and the underwriting assumptions or lack thereof underwriting that is done by investment sales brokers. And I say that specifically because they are sales brokers, they are salesmen, and they're trying to sell a property on behalf of an owner. So the biggest mistake I see new commercial real estate owners make is just trusting too much in the offering memorandum. Like, don't trust the OM. Use it as a guideline, right? Get the information from it that's relevant, the rent roll, the lease terms, the tenants, the location, maybe some demographic information. I know a lot of the major companies out there, Marcus and Millichap, CBRE, there's always usually demographic information included. But in terms of the underwriting, when you look at the expenses, I mean, I promise you, hold me to this. God strike me dead right now. If you trust the expenses that are in an offering memorandum, you are going to make less money than you think you're going to make. I mean, just flat out. I don't know, Adam, how many deals, how many hundreds of thousands of deals have we looked at, analyzed, underwritten? How often are we ever within only a couple dollars on our underwriting versus what the offering memorandum says?
I think I can count on – I have big hands. I could probably count on one hand. And I would tell you – I would probably bet that those are all single-tenant deals, right? But even in that situation, to your exact point, what a book says, like absolute triple net, great, there's still going to be some type of small expense that you – whether it's legal, accounting, whether you have other things you've taken as a landlord, maybe not operating expenses, you're going to have expenses that aren't in there. So actually, you know what? I take that back. Zero. I would say zero, Dan.
Right? I mean, it doesn't
Get me all
matter.
pissed off now.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I get it, and we love our brokers, guys. We love you guys. You're the best. Adam and I used to be at Marcus and Millichap. We totally get it. But having said that, that's the biggest mistake new investors make. They get an offering memorandum, they trust everything that the offering memorandum says, and they don't do their own due diligence, enough proper due diligence, proper underwriting, conservative underwriting. And some of those things are as simple as just including a vacancy factor, right? Including a reserve, a certain amount of money per square foot, including a management fee. Like, how often are we looking at books where, let alone one of those things, all three of them aren't even in there? So listen, if you underwrite conservatively enough, you will minimize your downside risk exposure tremendously. And you'll create, kind of a buffer for when things go wrong, expenses that you can't even underwrite for sometimes that pop up. But if you underwrote conservatively enough initially when you bought the property, then you'll be able to absorb these surprises. And at the end of the day, just be conservative. Don't trust the offering memorandum, investment sales broker. Enough said, right? Unbelievable. Mark, thanks, bro. I look forward to you looking forward to him every week, too. You know what? Adam, by the way, I wanted to ask you this because I posted a poll this morning, like 2 hours ago, and it's already got like over 100 votes.
Damn, you're popular.
Yeah, I know. Look at me, right?
I don't even know 100 people.
Hey, look, I made it. So the question was 5 years from today, from now, when people look back on 2021, what do you think will be the best investment, the best property type to have invested in? And I listed office, retail, multifamily, and industrial. So I'm going to put you on the spot right now. What say you, best property to have invested in 2021, looking back 5 years from now?
All right. So just to put this into context before I get all these like boo, go home type of responses. Think about 5 years ago from now, right? 2016. Right now, what we see as the most
2026.
No, I'm saying 5 years ago.
Oh.
Come on, get your abacus out. 5 years ago, it was 2016, right? So right now, what's the hottest asset class? It's industrial, right? And 5 years ago, these things weren't 4.5 caps, 5 caps. They were 7, 8 caps. You're paying $120 a foot. on the higher end. So where I'm going with this is what I see as the best, taking it for face value. I'd say either hospitality or office, because I'm taking the word best and using it as the most opportunity, right? We personally don't love office unless it's medically related. Hotels, it's a whole nother business. But best, in 5-6 years from now, and people are back out traveling, you're gonna be like, all these guys are gonna be like, we put in $30 million into hotels, they're now worth $100 million. They're gonna be such high ROIs if done the right way. So short and simple, what I see is the best, thinking about what we've seen historically, strictly return metric wise, office and hospitality.
Yeah,
What
I
do you?
agree.
You actually agree? I thought you were going to go
I
very
do.
strongly
I mean,
industrial.
listen, yeah, like we're retail guys through and through, right? We love retail. I still think retail is I could easily make an argument for retail being the best investment looking back 5 years from now. But I'm going to agree with you and say office, because I think, at the end of the day, right, bad news sells. Bad news headlines, bad news articles. Yeah, and you see all these clickbait articles, all these things. Office is dying. Everybody wants to work from home, this and that. Well, guess what? Google just doubled down on office just the other day. Office isn't going anywhere. And right now it's a tremendous opportunity to buy, either distressed or maybe, low occupancy office buildings, suburban office buildings. Because if anything, office is just gonna it's gonna change, right? People are gonna want more of an experience even in their office, the same way they're looking for from retail, and that may mean having dining options at the office building, having daycare options, fitness options, things that that they'll be able to do at the office either before work or after. That's going to make their life more convenient. And I think just the office space in general, like what we're more accustomed to nowadays, is going to change to kind of accommodate the more work from home balance. As people work from home and in the office, maybe they come in a couple days a week. It's more of like a hybrid thing. But the idea that like working from home is just going to be the new staple is ludicrous. And I love Ludacris. He's got some great songs. But it's people we're all people of habit, and we like being around other people and collaborating, and people want to get out of the house, man. So this work from home thing, it's not going to go anywhere, but it's not going to be as big of a thing long term as I think people are expecting. So I would agree with you. Office. And Mark thinks industrial. I can't argue against it, Mark. I can argue against anything, but Mark thinks industrial. I think a lot of people think industrial. I think as of now, the results were looking like 30% industrial, 30% multifamily, and then it was split like 15 and 15 for retail and for office.
I wish you preface the question though as like the best. Like, what the hell is best? You think of best. I think of best. Mark thinks best. Maybe stability. Best as in what the hell is best?
That's the beauty of the question, man.
That's the worst part of the question.
It's all about
for interpretation, gray area.
That's why it's a great question, because everyone's got their own perspective of what best really means. So if you haven't answered the LinkedIn poll, go check it out. Type up on my search me in the search box and go check out the poll. But guys, that was it. I wish we had more time, honestly, because I could sit here all day and just talk. But we're not. We're not, because we're hungry. We got things to do. And for anyone who's interested in direct ownership, commercial real estate investment opportunities, check out our website, prp.us. You see the scrolly thing on the bottom. Here it comes. Boop. Oh, wrong finger. There it is down there. Check us out, prp.us. And I would be remiss to mention, if you need any type of debt, if you're an investor, a developer, whatever, you need debt for commercial real estate, if you're not reaching out to Progress Capital and Kathy Anderson, I mean, you just like wasting money, I guess. That's cool, but not really our thing. So that was this week's What Say You. Guys, we're Progress Realty Partners. I'm Dan Salonis.
I'm Adam Dickert.
We will catch you guys next week when we have a couple of more questions with a few more answers. But until then, sayonara.
Adios.